Hi, welcome everyone. I'm really glad to have the chance to greet you all to this international conference on frontiers of ceramic materials, which is being organized by the ACerS Germany chapter, the International Chapter of the Material Research Society, which is jointly recognized by the European Material Research Society, and the company Schott, which is a glass company in Mainz, Germany. And I'm very glad to have a good number of panelists. This panel discussion is almost a traditional format of bringing the leaders of the professional societies with their most important clients, the members. And already in the preparatory phase, we have done a survey and we have collected lots of interesting thoughts, questions, not only because of the prevailing COVID-19 crisis and the limitations in traveling, but also in terms of perspectives for very young students who have never been a part of a society and would like to know what is the value proposition? How do you choose to become a member of a society? What are the criteria to go to a particular society? And I'm very glad that we have a very fantastic panel this evening. And also we have an audience from all over the world. We have more than 250 participants. And I would like to briefly introduce our panelists here in the alphabetical order, and I'm looking forward to an interesting hour of discussion. And I also would like to remind you that we will be recording this discussion, and which will be available later on for your review, and also to have some of these thoughts so that they can be, to forward them to audience and to members who could not join today for different reasons. So with this, I would like to now introduce the panelists, but before I do that, I would like to thank all the organizers, the student volunteers who have organized this. And I'm really glad to read out the names. This is Ms. Anna Schmidt-Burma, Mr. René Weissing, Mr. Vishal Wilhelm, Dr. Jakub Gönülulu, Ms. Christina Derixweiler, Mr. Khan Leh, Ms. Veronika Brune, Mr. Michael Frank, and Dr. Thomas Fischer, and Dr. Emanuel Ionescu. And it's my proud privilege and pleasure to introduce our panelists. We have, in the alphabetical order, Professor Alexander Michaelis, who is the president of the German Ceramic Society and the director of the Fraunhofer Institute for Ceramic Technology and Systems in Dresden. We have Dr. Dana Goski, who is the president of the American Ceramic Society and the vice president of R&D at Allied Mineral Products in US. We have Professor Eva Hemmer, who is a very good example of being part of different societies. She is engaged with MRS as the chair of the student subcommittee, and she's also a member of the board of directors of the American Ceramic Society. And she's a professor at the University of Ottawa in Canada. We have Professor John Winner with us, who is president of the European Ceramic Society and a professor at the University of Birmingham in UK. We have Professor Martina Zimmermann, who is currently the vice president of the German Material Society, DGM, and a professor of materials mechanics and failure analysis at TU Dresden. And I think this was Martina's idea to record this video conferencing or this video session of the panel discussion so that it can be made available to the members who are not able to join later. Thank you, Martina, for this great suggestion. And then we have Mr. Mark Mecklenburg with us, who is the executive director of the American Ceramic Society. And thanks for joining, Mark. And we have Dr. Maurice von Witzleben. He is the president of the JEX Trust. This is the trust of the European Ceramic Society. He's also the co-founder and general manager of Inmatec Technology, an industry based in Cologne. And then finally, last but not the least, we have Mr. Todd M. Osman. He is the executive director of the Material Research Society from US. And I'm very glad that Todd could also join, despite the fact that the Material Research Society fall meeting, which is the most important flagship meeting of the MRS, is running in this week. And today is the final day of the meeting. Thanks, Todd, for joining us. And with this, I would already like to start with the first question.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina, and I have a really general question. So maybe you can explain me what a society is, and maybe also what it is the advantages to be a part of society.
The societies usually have a mission statement. And so in the case of the American Ceramic Society, it's to advance the study and understanding and use of ceramics and glass materials. And a lot of people are looking for different things in a society, publications, networking, learning opportunities, mentoring opportunities. So that's what a society can bring to the table.
Don't forget the training aspects. Todd mentioned those. They are so important, not just the hard skills, but the soft skills. And each of the societies also have various bodies, PCSA for ACerS, YCN for ACerS. And these are bodies where you will meet people of a similar age, of a similar set of backgrounds. And frankly, you can make contacts there that will still be with you 40, 50 years later.
Number one reason why people join ACerS is first of all, the technical content that we have, but really close to that is collaboration. The role of societies really throughout the world, you know, in the United States and Europe and really in Asia and everything, is to get people together to collaborate. And also the other thing that's very important is that we collaborate among all of these groups that are talking today.
My name is Anja, and my question would be like, how important is it that I choose a society for becoming a member that totally fits to my topic? And maybe also, can I join more than one society?
I'm a member and I'm active in both ACerS and MRS. So the answer is short, nothing rules out to be a member with more than one society. Whether you need to find a society that has a perfect fit to your research theme, personally, I think no, because I'm doing really like the heavy chemistry side of materials. If this is the absolute perfect match with engineering and ceramics, just like topic-wise, maybe not, but still, it's like my home society, and you will always still find aspects that are really important.
My name is Amadi Kingsley Chijoke. I'm a PhD student, and I'm really happy to be here because this is my first time of attending such a gathering. But I want to ask, at what point of my career is joining any of the society important?
It's never, ever too late to get involved, and as you've heard, you can be a passive or an active member. You might start more passively, but then get involved. You know, you'll achieve more, you'll learn more, you'll make more contacts by getting involved.
I became member of the Ceramic Society when I was 40 and older, and seen a few later, now I'm president. So you see, it's never too late also contribute.
So as a society, and what are you expecting from a guy from industry which wants to support your team, your symposium, or whatever it is? Thank you.
When you're working in the scientific area, you have a lot of time. When you go to industry, you have no time. That was the expression of the people here. Okay, now what we are looking for in case of societies, we're looking for your time. When you're from industry, you're looking for your time. And this is a challenge for you. But with your time, you can move so much in societies which are still very much driven by scientific, which is not bad. But because that's why the influence of industry is so important. When somebody of us takes the time, the private time to do that, that is great because it's so good for the societies.
I'm wondering, after the pandemic, if the societies will make their conferences again just physical conferences, or are there also like plans to do it, maybe to make a split version? Because I think the virtual conference gives somehow a flexibility.
The genie's out of the bottle. You're going to have to find some way to have a hybrid meeting with a virtual component. Now, the problem there is that's the most expensive meeting to hold and the hardest to coordinate. If you have a symposium in Boston, for example, that you want to have a live speaker from around the world, different time zones, you still have to deal with that. So it's going to be a new world. I envision us getting back to face-to-face meetings, hopefully by the end of next year.
For the DGM, the Material Science and Engineering Conference, which is held every 2 years, normally in Darmstadt, was a huge success this year on a virtual basis. But I think on the long run, we need the real conferences, because my experience was that the lively discussion will not be the same.
What I think we will, all of us need to do is say, okay, for big meetings, the MRS fall meeting, the ACerS fall meeting, you probably do need those to be either face-to-face or hybrid. Then for some of the smaller meetings, the one-day meetings, I think they can be run extremely effectively virtually. And just think of how much we will save our planet.
I'm Ruth. I'm a bachelor student. And I was, especially as a young woman, I was wondering, is diversity and inclusion a topic in your societies? And if so, do you think there's like improvement in this field? And do you have any programs or something to improve the diversity?
I think you could take a look at the leadership. You take a look at the leadership. Is the leadership diverse? You can take a look at committees and see, is the leadership diverse? Certainly, we have a diversity and inclusion subcommittee within membership. We recently restructured, so our president-elect is part of that diversity and inclusion committee. Why? Because we're committed to making sure that the incoming leadership is in tune with what is going on and making sure they're current on current issues with diversity and inclusion.
What you need to know about a society, any organization, what do they care about? What do they fund in their budget? And what do they talk about in the boardroom, right? I could say, at least for MRS, we've had a long tradition of the broadening participation materials programs. It started years and years ago, decades ago, with the Women in Material Science, and now has evolved. And we issued a statement because of the issues that were happening in the United States on racism. And what we do at MRS is we don't issue a statement unless we can say there's at least 3 things we're already doing, and we're going to do 2 or 3 new things coming out of it. This year we launched the Diversity and Inclusion Fund. We started an underrepresented racial and ethnic minority student science writing program. And we did a month-long virtual programming in October for Global Diversity Awareness Month there. We launched unconscious bias training for our membership. We're now going to require all award committee members to take unconscious bias training. And we started the discussion, unfortunately, about conscious bias, because unfortunately, that's what led to some of the issues that happened in the United States.
I think it is just a matter of making absolutely sure that all the way through in your thinking, you are just treating human beings as human beings and trying not to see them in any way as a male, a female, a white person, a BAME person, or whatever. But you're just treating it, and that's actually surprisingly difficult to do. But I think it is the way forward to make sure that then you eliminate these biases. And you track down where you think there might be conscious bias and do something about it.
I could make life easy for me and could say, look at me, I'll be the next president of the DGM. But that's of course not the solution. I think that is one of the points that Gerhard Schneider and I will address in our presidency. More aspect I think we have to follow is we have to really make sure that, for example, women, to encourage them to become active members. And it is my impression that I don't know, because of socialization of the background, that there are still more women who don't dare take key positions because they think they couldn't do it, because out of time, because out of whatever reason. And that is one reason where I come back to me as an individual. This is one of my missions, also creating our own networks. I think we cannot just simply adapt what is already existing. And that is probably something which is maybe not everyone likes to hear, but networking maybe on different platforms is something we also have to focus to be even more successful in societal work, I think.
And I think this was a great suggestion from Professor Zimmermann, that she said that, okay, why don't we record it so that we can use it also, that we are engaged in this kind of discussion among the societies. I think this is a very important point. How do we collaborate and just do not coexist? So thanks to every one of you that you respected our invitation on behalf of all the organizers of this workshop. I'm very thankful.